Yo, what is going on, guys? XpertFusion here, and Treyarch has finally came out and just gave us all this information on gameplay features for Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. They have a whole blog. I'll put a link in the description to this blog. We're not going to cover literally everything in it, but we are going to talk about some of it because there's some new information here that we actually didn't hear from the leaks. But most of what is in here, we did hear from the leaks, which I already kind of covered the other day. So I'll just kind of reiterate some of these things, kind of go over more opinions on it. Because like I said, this is not a news channel. This is just an opinionated channel, right? Where I'll give you guys some news tidbits and give you guys my thoughts on it, not just sharing the information just for fun. You know what I mean? So let's start off with the perks. They have a pretty decent amount of information on the perks. There is a total of 6 perks within Black Ops Cold War Zombies at launch. They do confirm that there will be DLC perks being added throughout the season, which is definitely good. I would not be happy if we just had these 6 perks throughout the entire season. Hopefully they add a decent amount. Hopefully we get some really cool ones returning. We have Juggernog, Quick Revive, Speed Cola, Stamina Up, Deadshot Daiquiri, and Elemental Pop. And these perks obviously do the normal stuff. Quick Revive, interestingly enough, does not say anything about self-reviving yourself. So I hope that they do similar to a BO4 system where you just get self-revives regardless on solo, and that's just how it works. And maybe you can do different side quests to get more. But they might talk about self-revives later in this blog because honestly, I'm reading this for the first time along with you guys. I just heard some of the information in some other places, but there could have been some little tidbits here and there that I might have missed from just looking at their tweets. But this is the first time I'm reading their actual blog itself, which I believe has more information than what their tweets had. So let's look through it, obviously. And what's really interesting here is that they actually go into talking about the upgradable perks and how there's 3 different tiers. So when you're not upgraded at all, you're at, like, I guess you could call it tier 0. Once you upgrade it once, you get to tier 1, then tier 2, and then tier 3 is the final one. So that's really exciting. And these tiers go for not just perks, but also for ammo mods, for weapon classes, and for field upgrades. So that's awesome. And you get Ethereum crystals, which apparently you get that from getting to certain rounds and also doing the exfil system. Like if you successfully do the exfil, you get Ethereum crystals for that. Hopefully Easter egg completions give you Ethereum crystals too, like a lot of them. I want these, Easter eggs to be kind of rewarding, and that'd be kind of cool if that happens. So what's really interesting here is they go into talk about weapon rarities, which is something I was very interested in, and I'm actually really glad as to how this system is sounding like it's gonna be. So they say that perks are essential, but let's be honest, survival in zombies is all about the weapons. In previous iterations, too many zombies players were left trying to figure out which weapons were the top tier for any given situation based on their wall buy prices or by rolling them from the mystery box and hoping for the best. This time around, our new weapon rarity system gives every weapon a path to greatness. I kind of like this because, yes, that has been a problem in zombies where people only choose certain guns and every other gun kind of feels useless. To me, that wasn't that big of a deal before BO4 because most bad guns were still pretty good for points, but then there was those guns that were shitty for points and shitty just as a weapon, so those weapons were completely useless, but they were fun to use and mess around with. But I think this is a good system if they're going to make weapons more useful, and it adds a lot more guns to the game if you have rarities. Think about it. You take every gun and you multiply it by the amount of rarities there are, and we have like a shitload of guns, you know what I mean? Shitload of different types of guns, which is really awesome to hear. So they say that weapons come in 5 tiers of rarity. You got common / loadout, uncommon, rare, epic, and legendary. So just like Warzone. But what's interesting is that common / loadout, that's what they call it. That means your loadout weapon will only be able to be a common weapon. You won't be able to start off with a legendary weapon, which this is good. This is great. This means we're not going to be getting overpowered weapons on round 1. You're going to be having any other gun. You could probably use the best gun in the game, but it's still not going to be the best overall gun in the game because it won't be legendary rarity, it's going to be common rarity. So to me, that completely fixes the idea, like it completely negates the whole problem that people had with starting off with a really good gun at launch or at spawn, because it's not really going to be that good of a gun regardless of what gun you use. I'm sure they're not going to let you use wonder weapons to start with. It'll have to be probably a gun within the game, obviously. So that's interesting. Each tier increases the damage done by those weapons and will also determine how many randomized attachments come along for the fight. For an example, an uncommon weapon will feature around 50% damage boost over its loadout version and comes with just 2 attachments, while the legendary version kicks in with roughly 300% more damage and comes stacked with 8 attachments. So that is insane. What I really like about this is that, well, first of all, attachments, that's kind of interesting how attachments are going to be kind of built into the rarities rather than built into something that you put on them within the loadout screen. So I don't know if we're going to have weapon kits like we did in previous zombie games. I don't know if weapon kits will make much of a difference because you can only put, a common weapon as your loadout, so you'll only be able to have probably one attachment, I would assume, on that weapon. So I don't know exactly how that's going to work. I'm interested to see how that plays out when the full game comes out, but we'll have to wait and see, obviously, for that. Weapon rarities make wall buys and the mystery box even more worthwhile in Black Ops Cold War by giving player more options in any given game. Buying your favorite weapon off the wall is now different every time, with random attachments thrown into random attachments, so it's not going to be the same exact attachments every time you get the weapon. That's interesting. It'll just be a certain amount. So that's actually insane, because that means you're going to be using a different type of weapon every game. So I wonder, can you re-roll the box and try to get that same weapon again, maybe with different attachments? Like if you get a certain gun out of the box, right, and then you put it away, you buy a different gun, can you get that same gun out of the box again with that same rarity but with different attachments this time? That'll be interesting. I really like that, though, because it kind of changes up the pace of the game, I guess. It makes it a little bit interesting, like, oh my god, I got this attachment, or oh my god, I got that attachment. I think that'll be kind of interesting. They say that this creates a new layer of strategy to keep in mind as the match goes on. What happens if you hit the jackpot on your first spin of the mystery box and get an epic magnum at round 10, and then roll an uncommon AK-74U on your very next spin? Let's just say you're more comfortable with SMGs, but you know your damage potential will become lower as a result of switching. Which one do you keep? Okay, that's pretty interesting. I actually really like that. Previously, if you found a strong weapon in the mystery box, you had very little motivation to return. Now, even if you roll a weapon that you're happy with early in the game, you can return 10 rounds later and try to roll the legendary version. The mystery box also now includes support items such as the sentry turret and war machine, which always come in handy. So the support items like the sentry turret, some of the score streaks seem like they're going to be in the box. I wonder if the chopper gunner will be in there too. Probably not, but it seems like at least some of them will be in the mystery box, which is really interesting. So the mystery box is going to be great in this game, it seems, which was it's a good thing, because BO4, to be honest, I barely hit the mystery box. Like I can't think of the last time I actually seriously played a game when I was like doing something serious and I actually hit the mystery box. I would usually just hit it for fun. I would never hit it because I'm actually trying to get a good weapon, unless the Hellion Salvo. That's different case, obviously. Hellion Salvo was overpowered, but that was the only gun I was ever trying to go for. I was never hitting the box trying to go for anything else, because most of the wonder weapons in that game, usually you can do some sort of side quest to get it anyways, so there's really no point for that. So I really like this. This is great. I'm excited for that. Now let's talk about custom loadouts they have here. So because we're bringing together everything to unify progression across multiplayer and zombies, I'm still not happy they're doing that. I would prefer different leveling up systems for each mode, but whatever. This is the team's first chance to fully deliver custom loadouts in zombies. First and foremost, empowering players to bring all of their unlocked weapons and cosmetics into zombies takes the action up a notch and gets everyone into higher rounds faster. This gives players more freedom to play their way, especially for those who want to get a better feel for how much fun zombies can be after the first few rounds. So they're not too specific on that right there, but what I do like is how they're bringing over the cosmetics and such into zombies, like the skins, weapon skins, stuff like that, because it makes the black market way more useful and way more worth going for, I guess you can say. I'm glad the battle pass as well is unified with zombies. That makes me really happy. So those loadouts don't change the classic zombies formula as much as you might think. However, if starting out with the classic 1911 pistol is your jam, go for it. The design team carefully considered how loadouts would affect weapon progression gameplay, and as such, loadouts in zombies are simplified compared to those in multiplayer. Okay, so the loadout is not the same as it is in multiplayer. It's a different type of load. That makes sense. You can only bring in a single weapon, okay, single weapon, not two, just one, and a field upgrade with your zombies loadout. So that single weapon will also have its attachments and cosmetics, but it will be the lowest rarity available, common. This means your starting weapon won't be very effective at killing zombies after a handful of early rounds. You will still need to get out there and find other weapons quickly. You can also upgrade the rarity of your loadout weapon in a game, or any weapon for that matter, so you can keep your customized loadout weapon into higher rounds if that's more your style. So I really like that, the fact that you can upgrade the rarity of your loadout in the game itself, so that'll make it useful of trying to get it higher. I don't know how they're gonna make that work, but I love that. I really do like this idea because it's not giving you so much. I mean, people were afraid of it having like a whole entire loadout with a million different things. It doesn't seem like it has that much. It's literally just a weapon and a field upgrade. That's it. Weapon with some attachments and a field upgrade. That's literally it. And the weapon's not going to be that useful past a couple of rounds anyways. So this is not a big deal at all. And everyone was overreacting, as people usually do. Let's be real here. The zombies community and Call of Duty community in general, they overreact. Let's be real here. Now let's talk about field upgrades here, which we already talked about a little bit, which we got in the leaks a while ago. So we know most about what these field upgrades are going to be like. But they say the field upgrades are very different than those found in multiplayer, so they're obviously not the same as the multiplayer ones. These tools are designed to fit the narrative of Black Ops Cold War's Dark Ether story, provide a welcome power spike as part of the core combat loop without making players OP in the process, so they don't want it to be overpowered. So here's all of the field upgrades available at launch. We have the Frost Blast, which creates a frigid blast of wind that deals frost damage and slows enemies caught inside of it. Slowed enemies take additional damage. So that kind of sounds like Winter's Wail, but you activate it yourself instead of it being activated when a zombie hits you. So that's interesting. Healing Aurora summons beams of energy down on yourself and allies to instantly heal to full health. I think this could be really useful in like a boss fight place if you're getting just spammed with like some sort of, you know, boss zombies or whatever, and they're like shooting at you. I feel like that could be really, really useful, like especially in the Mephistophelies boss fight, like Infinite Warfare. This would be a really useful thing if you're all getting like hit at the same time. You just, you know, smack that thing on, and boom, you're good. These boss fights better be great in this game, because I think these loadout systems and stuff could really work well with it. If an energy mine creates a mine of pure energy that detonates on proximity of enemies, dealing explosive damage. That doesn't seem like it's going to be nearly as useful as some of these other things, but still cool to have, I guess. Ring of Fire, create a ring of ethereal fire that boosts damage for you and your allies. Normal enemies who enter gain a burning effect that deals fire damage, last 15 seconds. That sounds interesting. Ether Shroud, phase into the dark ether for 5 seconds, becoming hidden from enemy detection. That is literally in plain sight, so it's nice to see in plain sight there. So what I really like about these so far, they sound pretty, you know, balanced. I think the energy mine is the only one that sounds like not that useful compared to the other ones, but we'll have to see how they play in practice. It could be really, really useful. I have no idea. So it says, the design of these field upgrades takes inspiration from several action-based abilities in previous Zombies games, including certain Gobblegums, elixirs, and even some non-passive perks. Each one is balanced with an appropriate number of zombie kills required to charge it. Okay, that's good. So for example, the Healing Aurora has the upgraded ability to revive players in the map remotely, but requires double the kills to charge than an offensive-based field upgrade such as an energy mine. That is interesting. So the energy mine is going to be a lot quicker to earn, so that balances it out. Wow, they're really doing a great job with this. I gotta say, Treyarch, they usually do a great job with this sort of stuff, so I'm really happy with this. When you load into a match, you're going to want to have one of these field upgrades unlocked in your custom loadout and ready to charge up. Coordinate with the rest of your team before a match to make sure you've got a good balance of offensive, defensive, and support field upgrades to help everyone survive as long as possible. I've said this a million times. I like having, you know, you start off with like nothing in zombies and you build your way up, but I also like having a loadout system there as well for certain things, because stuff like this sort of a class system, it could work. I just think the class systems we had before, like in BO4 and World War II, there was almost too many options. Like there was all like in World War II with all the mods, you have like any equipment you want, like a gun. It was just too much to the point where it was like you feel like you already got everything when you're going into the game, you know. And I would prefer it to be like this, where it's literally just a field upgrade and a gun. That's it. That sounds great to me. Everything else you earn in game, and obviously you can still upgrade your stuff outside of the game, but when you upgrade it, you still have to earn it in the game itself. So I really, really like that. And next up, we get into armor and salvage, which, oh man, everyone wants to talk about this. This is probably stuff people were most worried about. So replacing the crafted shield of previous zombies experiences. So there's no shield. Interesting. There's no shield at all. Replacing the crafted shield of previous zombies experiences, armor provides a 360-degree layer of protection from the armies of the undead. Armor can be found as a rare drop from enemies or purchased using salvage. So I guess salvage is different than points in game, I assume. When worn, it will mitigate a portion of incoming damage. Every hit will still deal damage, but its durability is limited. Although armor is partially required by picking up the occasional armor shard dropped from certain enemies, it's a finite resource and you'll find yourself vulnerable again once you run out of salvage to repair it. You can also fully repair armor by picking up a carpenter power-up. Cool, that's awesome. Armor can be upgraded 2 additional levels, increasing its damage, mitigation, and durability. You're going to need it as rounds progress because zombies go stronger every round. Remember, even when paired with an upgraded Juggernog perk, no amount of armor can save you if you find yourself overrun, especially as rounds get higher and the challenge increases. Dude, I was seeing so many people on Twitter freaking out about the armor system. This does not sound bad at all. I'm sorry, this does not sound bad at all. It's literally the shield that we've had, but it's just a little bit, you know, more to it, right? I don't see why people are complaining about this. If this was a replacing Juggernog, like World War II's armor system was replacing Juggernog, I would have a problem with it. But this isn't replacing it. Juggernog is still there. It's just armor or something on top of it, where you'll have to try to, keep up with it. If you run out of it, you're gonna have to go get some more. But you know, of course, Carpenter can refill it. So it's just like the shield from past game. I don't know why people complain about that. I have no idea. That sounds completely fine to me. Then they talk about support/score streaks. We've wanted to bring score streaks to zombies for a long time, and now that player progression is unified across modes, there's never been a better opportunity. While certain zombie maps have included some variants of these in the past, the new Dark Ether narrative offered the perfect chance to finally carry over some of the militarized versions into zombies to raise the stakes even higher. Sometimes you just need a little extra power to get out of a tight spot, and that's where support comes into play. At launch, the available support selection will include combat bow, sentry turret, war machine, chopper gunner, and self-revive. So self-revive sounds like it's going to be what quick revive is, but it's separate, so that's interesting. Keep an eye out for one of these to pop up out of the mystery box if you're lucky. So these are all from the mystery box, and for those curious about how calling in a chopper gunner works without being instantly ripped to shreds by zombies, while you're controlling it, any support that takes perspective away from your character will temporarily make you immune to damage and ignored by enemies while it's deployed. This ensures that parties of one can make use of support in solo games as well. People were like, you know, freaking out about this. They're like, oh my god, how is the chopper gunner gonna work? Like, when you call it in, aren't you just gonna die? I'm pretty sure Treyarch isn't stupid and they understand how to make that work. So I was never worried about how chopper gunner would work. I was always like, bro, obviously it'll protect you from damage. No shit. But I'm glad they're, you know, reiterating that just to make it clear for everyone. That's good. Loot and crafting. It pays to stay resourceful during an undead invasion in Black Ops Cold War Zombies. Every zombie has a small chance of dropping resources, including salvage, armor, and even lethal and tactical equipment. Awesome. The tougher the enemy, the better the loot. So that means we will have some sort of a Warzone looting system in this game, but it's not crazy. You know, it's just salvage armor and some grenades and stuff. That's cool. I like that. It's kind of like Infinite Warfare a little bit. As you unlock equipment and score streaks through very standard player progression, that content will become available at the crafting table in game. So there's a crafting table in the game and can be crafted using resources. Rarity is also assigned to loot based on effectiveness. For example, a frag grenade is considered uncommon, whereas a simple monkey is a rare drop. That makes sense. I actually really like that. And now let's talk about the exfil. Why die if you don't have to? With the new option to exfil from the map when your squad can't last much longer, you can roll the dice and try to survive long enough to escape with some extra rewards, but it won't be easy. Starting at the end of round 10 and every 5 rounds after, you will have the option to use a radio in the starting area of the map to call in exfil. In a co-op game, a majority of the players must vote to initiate exfiltration. Once triggered, the normal round will end, and you'll be given a new objective to reach the exfil site within a specific time limit. At this point, zombies will begin to flood the area in a last-ditch effort to stop your squad in its tracks. Once you reach the site, a helicopter will fly in and hover above until the zone is cleared before it can land. If you manage to make it onto the chopper, you'll escape with some bonus XP and the chance to earn raw Ethereum crystals. Risk versus reward. So I have said this before, I love this idea because of the fact that one of my biggest issues with zombies is how you get to a certain round, and if you're not doing the Easter egg, you get bored after a while of just training around zombies, and you don't want to just keep going until you die, because what if you're just not dying? Like, sometimes I'll be playing and I'm just not dying, or I just want to play a quick game, you know, I just want to go to around 10 or 15. Normally I just have to kill myself, which kind of, you know, isn't the best, but having this gives me something to do, something to complete, something to win the game for, which I like, because if I don't feel like doing the Easter egg every single time, I have a way to complete the game without just killing myself. That is awesome. Let's talk about the ping system here, but honestly, I don't give a living shit about the ping system. The ping system is a multiplayer as well. It's something that they added. I don't think it's that crazy. I think it could be useful maybe for, like, you know, public matches, but I don't really play public matches, so I don't think that's really that useful, but whatever. I'm really excited for this. That's all the information they give. Of course, they also released the awesome theme for this game, which you guys are probably hearing in the background playing through over and over again because it's pretty awesome. So, final thoughts on this information. I honestly don't think a single thing here sounds bad necessarily. We'll still have to see how it plays out because we don't know 100% how it's going to play out. We just know the general idea of it. I think it'll play out fine. I think a lot of people are overreacting on a lot of these systems. They're like, oh my god, it's literally Warzone. It's not that big of a deal, trust me. I'm excited. Hopefully you guys are as well. I hope we get another map at launch. I don't think we will, though. We're going to probably get Nocturne and Toten as like a survival map as a side. And then obviously Dead Ups Arcade 3. And then on this all I'm really expecting. But there is a Vietnam map that has apparently been leaked and rumored and such, but people are saying it might not come at launch and it might be like DLC 1, but it won't be like that far away. It might be like in December or something they'll drop it. So I'm excited for that. Hopefully you guys are as well, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace